few weeks ago, I attended the night school and pay school graduation, and our guest today, Melissa Gonzales, was one of the speakers, and I'm holding her speech, and I was so moved that I came back and hoped that we would be able to have this conversation, because you not only moved me and everyone on that stage, because we passed the Kleenex box up and down the 2 rows of the administrators and board members. Your speech was beautifully written, but most importantly, your story and your willingness to tell the challenges that you had in your life, and that inspiration and what you've accomplished by coming back and getting your high school diploma, I can't begin to tell you how you have moved me. So my hope today with this interview, Melissa, is to give someone or ones in our audience the same grabbing feeling that I got the night in December at night school graduation, when you took the risk to stand up and read this beautiful story about how you just didn't quit. Even when many times the easiest thing was and sometimes you had to because of life's challenges.
Right.
But let's start back. Tell me and our audience, did you grow up here?
I was born and raised here in San Angelo. I did live in Florida for about 10 years after I got married. We moved away and then returned home after a rocky marriage.
So you tell in your story that at one point you lost your mother.
Yes. I lost my mother back in 2003 due to the fact of her addiction. She was over 20 years heroin addict, and she decided to live a life, and left my brothers and sisters and I with my father. And so he then assumed the role as a single parent, raising 7 children.
And you described an admirable job of trying to raise you all, but what first grabbed me was your realization that at that time school became less important because you wanted your mother back.
Right, that's correct. I longed for the day to have her come back. I remember countless days of praying and hoping that she would come home, and that if she did return, then I would give it my best in school.
So it was terribly hard to concentrate on the history of the world, right, and math problems that were at that time absolutely irrelevant to you and your circumstances. And we have so many children of all ages who are overwhelmed with life and feel exactly like you must have felt at that time, and have their mind thinking about other needs. And in your case, it was your mother.
Right.
So you became, it affected your schooling.
Yes, it did affect my schooling, because my thought was not on school. My thought was on my problems and life challenges. Being there for my 2 younger brothers, which were the youngest of the family, and I believe they endured most of the pain, and my thought was constantly on them, as well as myself, but more the family life situation of not having her home.
And many of our students who are in PAYS right now, who are actually high school age, are having to carry the burden, for whatever reason, of parenting or taking care of their younger siblings. Either they're having to find jobs, or their mind is consumed with helping them. So this is a real situation today,
Right.
as well as back for you. So what happened at that point after when you became so burdened by your mother, the loss of your mother?
Well, as I mentioned in my speech, I rebelled against my father. I believe I ran away once or twice. I wanted to find that comfort, that love that most young teenagers are looking for, and that mainly falls in the line of falling for the wrong person at a young age, and as a result, teenage pregnancy, which is so often the case, even back then as well as today. And we have to know that there is people who care. There's so many churches. My church family is amazing, and nowadays they have so many youth groups here in town that they can seek for that extra support of what's going on in the family and lifestyles that we face today as well as back then. So.
You talked about how you thought you had a learning disability.
Right.
And tell us a little bit about when you realized it wasn't necessarily what you had thought.
Well, it took some time for me to realize that I have a daughter who became a teenage mother herself, and I kept pushing her to continue in her schooling throughout her pregnancy. I had Miss Campbell on the other end calling me and pursuing that she would continue her schooling, her education.
And you're talking about Miss Campbell, who is head of our night school, who is one of my heroes.
Yes, ma'am.
I think she's an angel on earth.
Yes, she is.
Okay, so keep going.
So through all of that, and we finally, between Mrs. Campbell and myself, got her through it, and she gave birth to a healthy baby boy. He is now 3. And she did graduate night school through Mrs. Campbell's class. And at that point, I said, I need to do this for myself as well as my daughters. And as a result of my 4 daughters and I, we've had the discussion that not one of us will leave this earth without having at least our high school diploma.
Wow.
So, we have 3 down, 2 to go. I have a senior in high school this year at Central. So with that all said, it's rewarding.
You're definitely on that road,
Right.
and see the partial light at the end of the tunnel.
Right. That's correct.
My stars. Mm-hmm. Well, I know that one of Deborah's gifts is helping people believe in themselves.
Yes.
And she, with tough love, doesn't let go.
Oh, no.
And thank goodness she doesn't.
That's right.
What impact has this had on you?
Well, there's more to life than what we see, what's in front of us. It's one of those things where you tell yourself that it doesn't matter if it happened 20 years ago or 2 days ago. If you have that desire and that drive to want to accomplish something, you can do it, but it's going to take a lot of work. Just like Mrs. Campbell said to me, you can do this. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. She never once said it was going to be easy, and it wasn't. But if you want it bad enough, it will happen.
What was the biggest challenge for you? Was it the actual schoolwork or forcing it into your very busy work and family schedule?
Both were a major factor. Family, like I said, I have teenage daughters. Of course, people tend to think as they grow they don't need you, but that's not necessarily true. They need you even more so. And work, of course, you still have to provide, and I work 8-hour day shift, full-time job. And Monday through Thursday, I had no children. I had no husband because it was getting up at 5 a.m. and getting home maybe 9 o'clock in the evening. And so not going home.
And went to school.
Right.
To Ms. Campbell's class and
Right.
took classes.
Correct.
How long were you in the process?
It took me 2 years, but I did take a little break, and at that point I thought I can't go back. This is too overwhelming, with my job and some things happening at home, and so I said maybe this isn't best. But as much as I pushed my daughters, they pushed me as well and said, "No, Mom, you have to." So, with them saying that, it was like, we're going to be okay. We'll take care of the home. You just go and do what you have to do. So.
And they just repeated to you, I think you say in your speech, you can do this.
Yes.
That's hard then to not do it.
Right.
When you have people saying that to you, from Ms. Campbell to your family.
Right.
Wow. So did you go pretty much 12 months of the year?
No, we had our summer break and Christmas break, but she didn't let us get away with the fact that we were going to be on Christmas break or summer break. She still instilled in us that we had homework to do and assignments to do, and she never let one of the students leave on their break without giving them their plan and ensuring that they had things they needed to do to accomplish that goal that we are all seeking.
And she calls you.
Oh, yes.
I've had
Right.
students tell me I wanted to quit, and she would just call me.
Right.
And thank goodness
Oh,
she
yeah.
did.
I'm glad she didn't quit because of her, I continue to go, and those phone calls, even though it upsets you, you're like, okay, that conscience is kicking in and says, oh, I better get over there. Because there was some days I was like, okay, I'm just going to go home. I'm just going to lay down. So then you get your phone call, and she's, okay, Melissa, we really need to see you. You need to get your hours in. And here I go, crawling out of bed, and making my way. There's no escaping it. So.
Yeah, but it's in such a loving way.
Yes.
It is a beautiful thing to behold how she has that gift and of gently nudging persistently.
Right. That desire that she has it's not for her. It's for us. And a lot of times the younger students would get upset, and I'm like thinking to myself, it's not for us. She has her degree.
That's right.
It's what we need.
That's right.
And a lot of them thank her afterwards, and some will have to, they'll quit, and then they decide, they realize, hey, I need to do this. So they're on the phone again calling, and, she will get onto them, but then, she just, with love, says, okay, this is what you have to do. Yeah. No more playing around. So, she has a heart full of love. She's tough, but it's all with love, and isn't that what they say? I mean, we must have tough love for our children.
Absolutely. So. And for a period of time, you were her child.
Yes. Even though I'm probably older than her, but, that's okay.
Well, do you think, will it make any difference to you in your future that you have this degree?
Yes, because there was one day that I didn't think about my high school diploma, wanting to move up in a retail company that's so grand and so big, and having the opportunity, but not being able to take that step forward because I didn't have that in my hand, it's rewarding. It's not just a piece of paper. It's who you are, and it's determination. It tells a lot about a person. It's determination and then willingness, So,
Well, I know that this interview will inspire many, and I can't begin to tell you how much I'm grateful for your willingness to share. And I just hope God continues to bless you, and I know your family is blessed by what they have seen you accomplish, and it hasn't been easy.
right. No, it hasn't.
No one gave it to you. One lick.
No.
Well,
It's hard work.
it is hard work, but my
It's worth
goodness, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
what you have done and how meaningful it is to us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.